Welcome to Calling All Brides podcast. I'm your host, Joe Cirillo, with over 20 years experience in the wedding industry, from an owner of a wedding event rental company to a DJ and to a wedding videographer.
And I'm your host, DJ Michael Joye. I have, check this out, 30 years of being a DJ. Trust me, there's nothing I haven't seen or heard at a wedding.
All right, guys. Well, welcome into the Calling All Brides podcast. I'm your host, Joe Cirillo, and with our other host,
DJ Michael.
All right. Well, we've got another awesome podcast for you today. Oh, my goodness. So we are going to talk about traditions today.
Old school, man. We're going old school tonight.
Old school.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Let me set the stage for you. So, some weddings, they have all the same traditional, classic wedding events that occur, right? They've got, this beautiful ceremony that's got the beautiful classical wedding music. Right. They got the cake, they've got the bouquet toss, they got the garter toss, they got the money dance, they got the last dance, the first dance.
Say chicken dance?
Yeah,
no,
right.
No chicken dance.
But all the traditional stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the pros and cons about traditions.
Yeah, I mean, this year marks my 30th year.
30
I can't
years?
even say the word. 30th year as a mobile DJ doing weddings.
Well, you look pretty darn good for 30 years.
I was 12 when I started. I was 12. I was the youngest now. And I've seen a lot of things change over the years. The bride and grooms are getting younger, for one thing, because I'm getting older. But a lot of the traditional things have changed. And, tonight we're going to talk about the bouquet and garter toss as one. It's just something that back in the day, a million years ago, everybody did a bouquet and garter toss. Yeah. I mean, it was a big deal. Everybody got excited about it. And now, slowly, what happened was, it was nobody's doing the garter toss. Just bouquet. Okay. Now they hardly do either one. And I think it's kind of sad. I mean, it's kind of a fun part for the DJ. I think it's a great thing for pictures. But tell us, Joe, what you think about some pros about a bouquet toss.
Yeah, I mean, first thing about bouquet toss, definitely probably the number one pro for me, and again, I'm in the videography, right, side of it, where Michael's on the DJ side. But, I mean, we both, we work with tons of vendors, so we see it from all kinds of different sides. But I'm going to tell you, my favorite pro about the bouquet toss is by far is going to be the picture.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh, yeah.
What a cool picture.
Right.
What a cool video is it, toss it, all that kind of good stuff. The smiles. Yeah. Man, I had one recently. This was the best capture I have ever had when I have captured a bouquet toss. And I was going to tell you, the look on the girl's face that caught the bouquet was like, holy crap, I am not going to be the next one to get married.
Well, that's what it means,
awesome.
right? I mean, traditionally it means whoever catches it is the next one to get married.
Yeah.
That's how this thing started.
Yep. And I think, and at least, I think the good point about that, although it's a fabulous picture and it's great for, those, that are going to be married soon, but what it's not good for is that little 5-year-old girl that gets it, right?
Yeah, you'll say, hey, kind of all the single ladies, and you got like two 12-year-olds and a 5-year-old. I'm like, okay, this ain't going to be a really good picture. So, I mean, you know your people, and I always tell my brides, do you have a lot of single ladies that will be at this? Oh, yeah, well, let's do the bouquet toss. If she tells me no, we're probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, why? It's not a point.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another thing for me, too, is, that the bridesmaids actually look forward to it.
They do.
It's traditional, like I said. I mean, they like it. They're just excited to.
And the guests do, too.
Yeah,
they like seeing this. It's part of the day.
That's right. It's a part of the events of the wedding. Yeah. So definitely. But, another kind of con to that, is the cost, because there's a cost with having the extra throwing bouquet.
Sure. You got we call it a throw bouquet.
Yeah.
And then I did a wedding one time where I wasn't prepared. Hey, you ready to do the bouquet toss? She goes, yeah. And then I said, where's your bouquet? Oh, it's out in the car in the parking lot. Then her mom had to go get it. I've already announced it, so it's kind of awkward. So DJs, make sure if you're doing it that the bouquet is like at your disposal, that you have it ready to go.
Oh yeah, I can't tell you how many times. Like the videographer's prepped, the photographer's prepped, the DJ's prepped, and then the coordinator's like, where'd it go?
It's in a box somewhere over there. I think. I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just a lot of different options there. But let's talk about the garter.
Oh, this was a touchy one.
Oh, man, I don't know. I'm going to tell you, from the weddings I've been at recently, I am seeing maybe 25% doing garter, maybe? What would you say?
Maybe. That's a stretch right now. I mean, Yeah.
You know, it used to be, like we said, now, you know, it's going to show our age here because we've probably got about a 50 years combined experience between the two of us here. And that was a very, very common practice.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about some of the reasons why maybe you do like it and maybe you don't like it.
Right.
So, you know, again, it's really fun for the groom. You know, I know you got a funny story about a groom. Tell me about that.
All right, so you know, the wedding, it's all about the bride. Come on, it's her day, it's her day, it's her day. This is the one thing the guy can do. And the best story, and I've seen thousands of these things. I've got a couple. I had one guy who was a former quarterback in college football, and I don't know where he put it, but somehow he had a football stuck somewhere, and he went under the dress and pulled this football out, and he had all of his groomsmen. They had a play plan, and they ran a pass play, and he threw a pass. That was pretty cool. The best one, this guy was a diesel mechanic, right? And he called me in advance, hey, I'm doing this thing, man, and I need some sound effects, like some tools and stuff. And I'm like, okay. So we go do the garter toss. And I'm playing Pony, I think, by Genuine, right? That's the classic Pony, right?
Yeah.
And his buddies, I don't know what it's called, but it's a cart that has wheels. They lay on their back and they go under a vehicle.
Oh, creeper.
Yeah, creeper.
Creeper.
They pull this out of somewhere. He gets on the creeper. He's got a hat with a light. He puts the light on. He had a toolbox. He goes under the dress. I got all these sound effects, power tools, all these noises going, and he comes out with the garter. It was hilarious, man.
Wow.
And it was fun. You know, I'm going to tell you, girls, if you do this, the first thing they're going to do, I've seen it 2,000 times, they're going to pull your dress up.
Yep.
And now you're going to show everybody what you got. So I've even tried to position the chair so it's not in the way, and the groom will turn it. So just kind of, I always tell my grooms, we've all seen that a million times, don't pull her dress up. But it can be fun, but it does make you the center of attention. So if you're not comfortable with that, and it's kind of risque, don't do it.
Yeah.
Just don't do
and,
it.
you know, I think another thing goes with that, too, is, you know, sometimes for some folks it can be awkward. You know, you got dad there. You know, I've got two girls myself. Yeah. I don't know. You know, it's going to be a little weird. I don't know that I want all my guests or the guests at the wedding kind of seeing all that too. It's a little weird for me personally.
It can be. That's one of the cons. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So let's switch gears now. We talked about bouquet and garter. You know, some pros and cons there. So let's talk about some other traditions. Let's talk about cake.
Something I know a lot about
cakes.
I'm probably eating more wedding cake than any human alive. Right. I figured, I don't know, about 2,200 slices, so let's talk about cake.
Let's talk about cake. And there's all types of cake, too. You know, you got assorted cakes, you got, you know, single flavor cakes, you got single layered, you got what are they called, naked cakes now? You got all kinds of cakes. Yeah. But on the flip side, you have cupcakes, too.
Yeah, that's a trend right now. People are doing cupcakes, which, you know, the thing I like about it is a wedding cake can come maybe in 3 flavors max. Cupcakes, I've seen weddings that have 8, 9, 10 different flavors. Praline, cheesecake, red velvet cake. So you have a variety of flavors for people.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing about cupcakes, too, that I've seen recently is, you know, mostly with wedding cakes, I mean, you can find some wedding cakes that let Publix and things like that, but the majority of time people hire a cake baker to do their cake. But I'll tell you, on the cupcakes, now again, you can hire a cake baker to do the cupcakes, but I would say the majority of people that I see with cupcakes are actually getting them from like a Publix or something like that, because they can still order a big quantity, they can order the different flavors. Sure. It's probably cheaper, and again, no disrespect to our cake bakers, we love you, but obviously brides and grooms got to do what they got to do for their budgets, but yeah, so we've seen a lot of cupcakes.
I personally think the thing that's gone up the most in price that I know is wedding cakes. I mean, I've heard like $9 a slice.
Wow.
And listen, if it's worth it and you got the money, I think it's awesome. But if you are on a budget and you're trying to figure out a $2,200 wedding cake, I think a cupcake's looking pretty good right now. Right? That's what I'm thinking. Then you lose the tradition. You're supposed to take the top of the cake and put it in the freezer and eat your first anniversary, and there's tradition involved in. So you do sacrifice some of that.
Yes, and it's a little bit harder. It doesn't look as cool to cut a cupcake and put a cupcake in somebody's face than it is to do the actual traditional cake.
And we've all seen that picture of our parents and our grandparents standing at the cake. And the 3-tiered cake with the plastic bride and groom on top. And they cut, hand on hand, they cut the cake. And then they feed each other the little cake. And then they smash the little cake. It's just tradition, And then again, if that's not your thing, don't do it. Get cupcakes. I like the cupcakes. I think it's a kind of cool trend right now.
Yeah, definitely. They're both good. And other things I've seen too is donuts.
Oh, don't even start on that.
if anybody knows
this
me.
This boy's a donut freak, y'all. He is a freak.
Dude, I don't care if it comes from Dunkin' Donuts. I don't care if it comes from Krispy Kreme. I don't care if it comes from the grocery store. I will eat me a donut, and I love me a donut bar.
You have to have all these pegboards, right? And these wooden pegs, and they have donuts. That's horrible for a DJ, because I'm usually like really close to it, and I'm staring at it all night going, nah. And then by the end of the night, I already had 3.
Oh yeah, it's tough to break a donut now. What are some other things? I'm trying to think what other things I've seen besides cake, cupcakes, donuts. I think I've seen like macaroons.
Yeah, macaroons. I've seen cookie tables.
Oh yeah.
Where they do, especially Italian weddings, they'll do a dessert or cookie tables where you got like 100 kind of cookies.
You remember we did a wedding together.
Yeah.
It was Italian, and
I gained 12 pounds that night. I tried everything.
Wow.
Try another cookie. And I'm like, oh, I don't want another cookie. And I ate about 15 cookies that night.
That was a spread of desserts.
Love my Italian weddings.
That was like cannolis. I mean, all kind of stuff,
yeah.
man.
So it's put your stamp. I mean, the cake is traditional, right? But if you're not a traditional girl or guy, cupcakes, cookies, there's a lot of things, donuts, like you said, there's a lot of things you can do. You just want something for dessert. Basically, it's meant to be dessert after dinner, whatever you have. So it doesn't really matter.
Yep. Let's talk about a couple other traditional things. One thing that's coming to my mind is the ceremony wedding music, because many years ago it was all your Here Comes the Bride. It was all your classic instrumental wedding march, all that kind of good stuff. But nowadays it seems like I'm seeing things from like Vitamin
String Quartet, Brooklyn Duo.
And they're like songs like Bon Jovi, Guns N' Roses, all kinds of stuff.
A lot of Star Wars too, man.
Star Wars, yeah.
A lot
Disney.
of Star Wars, Disney, yeah. But that's your personal stamp. If they do a Disney song and it's done with strings, who cares, right? I don't know the last time I played Here Comes the Bride. It's been a long time.
No, I have not heard that at a wedding. Another thing too that as far as traditions going is that I'm seeing a little bit change is the wedding dress. You used to have your traditional, white wedding dress, and now I've seen this past year, on some films that I did, I've seen like cream color. Just color.
Pastels. Hey, since we're here to inform and entertain, do you know why bridesmaids all wear the same color dress? Do you know where this came from?
Got me.
I did some research. Back in the Roman days, people thought that evil spirits could harm a wedding, or a jilted lover would try to sabotage the wedding, right? So the bride would get all her friends, and they would all dress alike in the same outfit and go to the venue or where they're having it in different directions as decoys.
Wow.
So nobody knew who the bride was. But then you're saying, okay, but why she wear white now? I got an answer for you. Back in the Victorian times, people got a little bit smarter. Okay, they're not evil spirits. Queen Victoria married Prince Albert. And back in those days, I think it's 1840, I believe, white fabric was very expensive. Nobody had white articles of clothing. Very, very expensive. She got married in a white dress. The queen in a white dress. So then all the girls said, oh my God, that's beautiful. And it also signified her virginity being pure and being white. So that's where the white dress came in, and that's why the bridesmaids wear the same color.
Well, thanks for my education lesson tonight.
Thank God for Google, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But it makes sense because I always wondered why they wear the same color, but that's why, yeah.
Wow. Well, Michael, I think it's about time to wrap it up. We've talked a lot of different traditions, from the bouquet, the garter, the wedding cake, all this kind of stuff. So, but yeah, we hope you got something out of our chat tonight, and we will be with you soon.
We got a lot of good stuff coming up, guys. Keep liking us and keep tuning in, okay?
Yep. Calling All Broads podcast. We'll see you soon. Great episodes coming up, and we've got a whole lot more, so make sure you stay tuned to the Calling All Brides podcast.